Brought to you in association with Meadowlands Hotel Tralee, where being local means coming home.
Now, it's just over 18 months to the start, I suppose, the Paris 2024 Olympics. And many athletes are probably getting themselves into that cycle where they hope, first of all, I suppose, to put themselves in a place where they may dream of qualifying. And who knows what happens if they go a step further. But for many, I suppose, it's about the season ahead and just improving on their performances. And times, I suppose, the times are crucial, I suppose, unless you're throwing, of course, it's distances then, of course. And I'm delighted to say that I've been joined by Tomas Griffin. We haven't seen him in a small while, but we're back in the season again. Tomas, great to start the season, much like the footballers. They were fierce excited to see them to come back talking about football, and I presume you have plenty to talk about for us as well. Speak to us first of all about where the season is at the moment. I mean, a lot of them are competing now in colleges and they're travelling away through, I suppose, the nationals indoors as well, and talk to us. But particularly, tell us about all our great Kerry athletes.
Thanks a lot, yeah, and hello to all the listeners. It's great to have the sport of athletics getting regular slot on the show, so we really appreciate it. I suppose at the top of the show, on behalf of the Kerry County Board, just to acknowledge that it's 1 year this weekend since Tom Joe O'Donoghue passed away, and again we're hopefully carrying on all the great work that Tom Joe did on the airwaves over the years for the sport. A couple of other heroes that I just want to call out. The Kerry College's athletics. I know you were just talking about Kerry College's football, but Kerry College's cross country was actually on last week. Great power couple, Damien McLaughlin and his wife Adrian. Without them, Kerry College's athletics really wouldn't be happening, so they're putting a lot of energy into that.
And they do it all by themselves. I've been there a few times with them, and my God, they run everything off and get everybody in. Of course, retired teacher, of course, plenty of time, and Austin Stacks fans as well, great photographer as well. So they have everything. But yeah, absolutely, and it's a great event as well, isn't it?
You had, I'd say, every secondary school in Kerry had kids there. Some of them would be accomplished athletes, some of them would be people that would be from other sports trying out the sport, so others are probably not participating in any sport, so taking the day out to get out of school and go and participate, you might find the next layer of talent. So without work, like from people like that, you know, clubs, where are we going to find the next layer of athletes? So it's great work and it's good to be acknowledging that, so really appreciate that, and just let them know it's not gone unnoticed. It's been a really, really busy month for the county board and for the clubs, so all the clubs across Kerry are busy re-registering people, getting them insured, getting them registered with Athletics Ireland. The county board had the AGM last week, setting out their stall as regards fixtures for the year. So our sport of athletics, I suppose one of the big advantages it has that it can be very planned, not unlike in competition. It's the tape, it's the clock that you're competing against. The dates are also written in stone and when competitions happen, so all those are mapped out by the county board. So we can chat about that maybe in further shows. So really, to get to the competitions, it was a really busy month. So the month of January in indoor athletics, track and field, there's been 9 competitions, believe it or not, already in January, which is incredible. The group I'm going to talk about really are the ones that are the vulnerable group in athletics, which would be the ones that are doing leaving certs, the ones that are first year in college. Generally what happens is in that age group, people drop out of sport, not just athletics, but every sport. But a success for Kerry was that across all those competitions in that age group, there was nearly 40 athletes from Kerry competing, from under 20 level, under 23 level, and in senior level. So to have that, I think it's a success, and all the clubs in Kerry should really be, you know, proud of their coaches and proud of the parents that are helping to drive that on and facilitate it. So national championships, the national under 20s was on, and under 23s. So I suppose if I don't mention this, the first national title, All Ireland, wasn't Fossa GAA that was brought into Kerry. The night before, Ciara Kennelly, who happens to be from Fossa, from Killarney Valley AC, won the All-Ireland Under-23 high jump title. So she maybe trumped the local Fossa team there in getting the first All-Ireland then. So
the homecoming was for her, was it?
Yeah, maybe in the future we can be having some bonfires there for Ciara if she moves on to the next level. Ciara also captained the DCU team, that's Dublin City University, in the Irish universities, to the women's title as well, and that was last week. Other goals from Kerry people: Aaron Malik, who's now competing for Nina AC, but formerly of St Brendan's AC. Aaron won the pole vault in the Irish Under-23 Championship. So again, that's a very skilled event, and to have somebody representing it, great work done in the past by his club St Brendan's. Sprints, we had Megan Lynch. She took a bronze medal in under 20 60 metres. You interviewed her before Christmas, a fantastic athlete. And also the Listowel 4x200 relay team won bronze in the under 23 sprint relay. So again, that's girls in sport representing at that age, is fantastic to see. In throws, you had from Tralee Harriers, Kerry Ann Ryan, she won silver in the under-20 shot. And from Listowel AC as well, Pádraig McCarthy won silver in the weight for distance under-20. So athletics, multiple types of disciplines, whether it's sprints, jumps, middle distance, walks, throws, hurdles. We've got representatives across everything. It's really fantastic to see. In the national level also, there was a fantastic gold in the Masters, and that was in the multi-events. Ger Crimmin from Anriach AC, who can still compete against the senior level athletes, even though he's in his mid-40s at this stage. He won a gold medal in the multi-events where he had to cover off 60-metre hurdles, long jump, high jump, shot put, and 1,000 metres all in one day. And his performances across all the events would match what's going on really at senior level. So really, really commend what Ger is doing and how he's representing the sport. Others that performed well in the national championships but didn't medal, but were making finals. Killian Griffin, who we've mentioned previously, he's a very, very good sprinter, ran 6.9 in a 60-metre sprint, made the final, also made the final of the 200 metres. To put it in context, the speed that he's hitting is averaging 32 kilometres per hour over the 60-metre sprint. Oh. By the 30-metre mark, Killian is hitting probably 38 kilometres per hour. The girls like Megan averaging 28 kilometres per hour through the sprint race, she'd probably be hitting 33, 34 kilometres per hour at some point. So again, that's for the listeners to put it in context of what these athletes are doing. So it's quite amazing. You had other athletes like Rebecca Falvey in the under-23 200 metres. She made the final. Jason O'Reilly from Killarney Valley and Ty Galvin, two 400-metre runners who are really up and coming. Both guys ran personal bests. Both guys have got 2 years left at under 20 level. So for them to be competing and holding their own is fantastic. Louis O'Connell from Listowel AC, personal best 7.25 over 60 metres. He's now operating out of UL and was part of their team as well that was in the Irish University Championships. Others to do very, very well. Oisin Lynch from Killarney Valley ran 1:57 at age 16 for 800 metres. So to put that in context, he's 3 seconds faster than the next guy his age in the country. He's run 1:57 3 times this year so far in the month of January. So, you know, his outdoor personal best is 1:56. Indoor running versus outdoor running, because the bins are tighter. What's he going to do outdoors? It's going to be great to see this summer. His training partner, Jack O'Leary, ran 2:02. His second fastest time over 800 metres indoors. I know both those guys are going away in a warm weather training camp next week, so they're going to come back in really good shape for their age group championships. Sam Griffin from Killarney Valley was 7th in the long jump, just bouncing back from injury, but to make the final in the long jump after a 7-week layoff was a fantastic achievement as well. So, again, Donald, for the listeners, that's loads of events being covered by Kerry athletes across all the disciplines. It's fantastic to see.
And they're all competing at national level. I mean, everything when you say, you know, getting to a final, that's a national final. And I suppose the way athletics goes, I mean, you enter the sport. First of all, you try to get a PB, and then you try to get better than a PB, and then you try to get to a final, and in time you try to get maybe medaling or hold on. And that's the way it is. You can't just literally walk from your athletic club straight into a final and win a medal. So the amount of work even to get them to this stage must be massive.
Absolutely. Like, to put it in context, let's pick a high jumper. So a high jumper, when they're getting lift off the ground, there's about 8 times their body weight in G-force going through their body, hitting their joints. So you can imagine, outside of the technical stuff, what has to happen in the gym, what has to happen on the track to get them in shape to be able to do that just as a movement, let alone then moving on to be able to be amongst the best in the country or the best internationally. So it's an amazing achievement. There was loads of athletes competing in the Munster Championships, which had been on prior to the Nationals, and loads of medals. Killian Griffin, he took gold in the 60 and the 200. Jack Graney from Riocht, under 23, 200 and 400 silver medalist. Miran Defita from Kinmare AC, 400 metres silver medalist under 23. Louis, who we mentioned, Louis O'Connell, took a gold medal in the under 20 200 metres. Jason O'Reilly, who we mentioned already, 400 metres Munster champion. Grace O'Mara from Killarney Valley AC, 1500 metre bronze medalist under 20. A young authors lad from Kinmare AC, 3000 metre silver medal. Megan Lynch again took a medal. Rachel Neelan took a medal in the 400 metres. Molly O'Riordan from Listowel, silver medal in the 800 metres. So again, that's mixed gender, male and females, doing fantastically well.
And you mentioned Kinmare, you mentioned Listowel, you mentioned Killarney. I mean, it's just not one little hub either. I mean, there are athletes coming across the county.
Yeah, I think I've mentioned 6 clubs already. One's to watch, up and coming. You have a great sprinter out of Riocht, Nicole Walker. She's working really, really hard, dedicating herself to the sport. I think she's going to do great things in the future.
She's Ballymac, is she?
I think she's Ballymac, actually.
Ballymac, yeah. Good evening, Teresa Ann Walker.
lots of greyhounds out of Ballymac.
That's right.
Maybe that's where the speed comes from.
She'll be speeding, yeah.
Yeah. You've got throwers as well. So Pádraig McCarthy out of Listowel, weight for distance, gold medal. Even Hart out of Listowel, gold medal at Munster level, weight for distance. And again, Kirby Ann Ryan, Tralee Harriers, shot put, silver medalist, Munster Championship. So national and provincial level. So, you know, you've got all those athletes pushing PBs, but then looking up to the internationals. They're looking at the ones that are really in the headlines all the time out of Kerry.
And we have a good few of them too.
We do. So I think you got to interview 10 of them before Christmas. We
like
10 of them, yeah.
The world Guinness Book of Records, how many people can you interview from Kerry in an hour that are all Irish national champions and athletes? It was fantastic.
Absolutely.
Tell us how some of our friends are getting on.
Yeah, so you've got Olympian David Kenny. He was racing at the weekend. He opened his season 3,000 metre walk in the AAI Games. He covered the distance in 11.21. That's 11 minutes 21 seconds. So put that in context, it's the third fastest time all time in Ireland.
Wow.
Only bettered by his coach Rob Heffernan, and one of his training partners, and they'd all be world class athletes. The time that he did would have been second in Europe last year. Okay. So again, that's the level that he's operating at and building up towards something big. So that's quite amazing to see. Sarah Leahy out of Killarney Valley AC, she's chasing qualification for the European Indoor Championships. So she's racing all over Europe in the best races. In the Czech Republic, she ran a new personal best of 7.32 seconds for 60 metres. She was in the final and only beaten by Dina Asher-Smith from the UK. So Dina Asher-Smith is the world champion over 200 metres. You've a Kerry lady racing her, coming second in the Czech Republic. Unbelievable. Sarah, again, chasing the standards, was in Catalonia, in the Catalunya International, just outside Barcelona, just this Saturday. She ran 2 races. Best time that she had was 7.43, so slightly off her best. So she's chasing qualification for the European Indoor, so hopefully she gets there. A couple of more races to come. Bit of an unusual one here, so I'm going to test you on this, Donald. There was 2 Kerry athletes competing in the New Zealand National Championships. Both of them distance runners. Both of them have come out of Kerry clubs and happen to be living down in New Zealand now. So out of Evora AC, your home neck of the woods, you'd Bridget Dennehy. Bridget Dennehy in the mile, New Zealand National Championships, was 7th. She ran 4 minutes 47 for the mile. That would have had her 6th in the Irish rankings last year had she been competing in Ireland. She was followed up in 8th place by a Farnformain Valley former athlete, Niamh Dahora. Niamh is down in New Zealand as well for the past couple of years. She ran 4 minutes 55 for the mile. So again, that's a time that would have her 8th on the Irish rankings last year. So I suppose the message for the listeners is that athletics is a sport that you can carry into college. If you're an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old, or a 15-year-old thinking of joining, it can be what it will be for you. If you move countries, you know, there's athletics clubs all over the world, and there's always competitions to chase your personal best in. But also then if you're an athlete who's chasing standards, there's always races to pick up. So to have Kerry people participating in the past month in the southern hemisphere and in the northern hemisphere and across Europe is quite astounding. But also then to have them performing at the levels that they are in these new indoor stadiums that we have. At Lone, there's an indoor stadium there that is world class, and in Dublin there's a new world class indoor stadium as well. So, you know, there's no excuses.
No, I've been in the one at Lone. It's unbelievable. I mean, you walk around a couple of fields, next thing you're inside here, and for all the world, it's what you watch on television. It's as good as that. It's particularly for the indoor, and it's funny that so much goes on actually in the indoor as well. I mean, people are doing their high jumping, long jumping, fields are going around and down the middle. You're sprinting. Sarah's getting very close to the standard, though, isn't she?
Yeah. So the A standard for automatic selection for the European Championships is 7.24 seconds. Right. So Sarah's at 7:32. If she, let's say, doesn't improve on the 7:32, she'll have to run that again. She'll have to run the B standard twice, but then accumulate points on the world rankings. So that's why she's chasing races across Europe, racing, you know, the best.
She's banking her points, I suppose.
Yeah, so you have Rashidat Adeleke, who everybody's heard of. She has the A standard, but she may do the 400 metres in the Europeans. And then Molly Scott, who is the national indoor champion, she has the A standard as well, which is 7.24. So Sarah has a shot. But 7.32 as a time is quite incredible for her to be racing. I mean, that's beating a lot of the male sprinters in Ireland over 60 metres at club level. So that's incredible.
It's amazing. The elite level is so. I suppose you look at it and you say it is unattainable. Then you see Sarah Leahy almost attaining it, and she will attain it close enough. And I suppose it's attainable with work. It's attainable with the right coaching. It's attainable by taking the right path as well, possibly.
Yeah. So again, the sport being transportable is important. So Sarah is now living in Dublin. She started a new job, graduated college. So she's part of a new training group in Dublin. She's in a training group with other elite athletes. Israel Olatunde is in the same training group, for instance, Ireland's fastest man. So, moving from coach to coach is important, and us coaches then also just share the athletes and pass them on. Her new coach, Daniel Kilgallen, sent a fantastic text message to the club in Killarney just acknowledging the work that had been done by the coaches that were coaching her when she was a little kid. So I got to share that text message with some of the other coaches in Killarney Valley, and Sarah herself would acknowledge that her success is part of everybody that has contributed on the journey. So all the other athletes I mentioned here, 40 of them that have been competing at under 20, under 23 level and senior, to have that many still in the sport means all the clubs in Kerry are doing a fantastic job. And I suppose sometimes it can be difficult for the coaches because there's never enough. And from an athletic standpoint, the amount of disciplines that have to be covered, there's actually 22 different events in track and field.
Yeah. You keep busy. Come here, listen, after the break we'll talk to a guy that you know fairly well, Jordan Lee, on his journey, of course, trying to make, I suppose, the World Championships first and then the Olympics. You stay with us there, Tomas, and we'll have an old chat after the break.
Terrace Talk on Radio Kerry, brought to you in association with Meadowlands Hotel Tralee, where being local means coming home.
There you go. That commercial break was quicker than Sarah Lee could run, to be honest with you. And we're back here on Terrace. Of course, we're talking athletics, and I'm joined here by Tomas Griffin. But joining us online now is Jordan Lee. Of course, you remember Jordan Lee. We've had him in a number of times. Very inspirational, of course. And last time we were on talking to Jordan, of course, we were probably talking about, I suppose, the ups and downs of his very technical sport. But this evening, first of all, Jordan, we're going to congratulate you. You got a new deal at the weekend, or maybe last week, was it?
I did indeed. So I was very proud to announce my partnership with a big international brand, Puma. Something that I had known for quite a while, but unfortunately couldn't release it out into the public eye. But very grateful to have the support of such a massive international brand like Puma by my side now for the next 3 years. So it's a 3-year contract, so very happy. And
of course that's going to help you significantly, I'd imagine, for the path that you're taking. I suppose that last time we were talking about that kind of ankle injury. How are you rehabbing with that at the moment, or are you nearly there, or is it still kind of I suppose keeping you sidelined?
Yeah, so funnily enough you ask, actually, because I actually had a check-in today with one of the lead ankle specialists in the country up in Dublin, and he's officially cleared me to be able to do low-level high jumping again, which is fantastic. Over the past 2 months, to be exact, I've been doing a different sort of regime of training to make up for the fact that I can't do anything with significant high intensity in terms of ground contacts, but obviously high jumping, but then also sprinting at a high velocity too, whereas now I'm able to kind of go back to doing those more high intense workouts, and just to be able to jump again as well is, it's obviously a good buzz. It's something I love doing, so really happy to be able to kind of start up that.
I'd imagine it's a good feeling to be able to go back. Well, was it frustrating or disappointing, or dare I say even a tad depressing when somebody says this injury is going to prevent you from doing possibly the thing that, like you said, that you love doing, but also I presume on a cycle, particularly probably into Paris or the World Championships and the Olympics as well, not too far away. Does that then kind of play mind games with you and say, God, will I ever get better, or do you have to kind of sit it out and be very professional and just wait and just survive the time, basically?
Yeah, to be honest, it's obviously going to be something that's going to be in the back of your mind. It's something that has to be on your mind, because you have to have a really professional approach when tackling an injury as significant as that. What happened, my ankle, was basically I ruptured my ATFL ligament completely on the high jump runway, doing curve runs, which is basically my warm-up. So was quite a bit of a shock. I didn't exactly expect it to happen, but it happened. But the worst thing I could have done is sulked about it and be really sad about something that is ultimately out of my control as such. Anything can happen to any sort of athlete when they're training, especially in athletics, and just how high intensity each discipline is. So to be honest with you, I was a little bit disappointed, but I've been in sport now a long time, competing at a very high international level, where it's just kind of second nature. When you get a knockback, you have to act professionally. You have to have a plan in place, and I'm very happy to say I've been cleared, because initially I was supposed to be out for nearly 4 to 5 months, whereas I'm back after 2 months.
Super.
So I'm after making a big comeback.
What's the Jordan League calendar or diary events like now? You get back in. I presume you probably have to do a good bit of training before you get back to competing. I presume, or have you competitions in mind already?
Yeah, the Jordan League calendar is a hectic one, to be honest. So, like, getting back into high jump specific training is the first thing. So, just being able to feel out my runway, get in those ground contacts, which is very important, because you can't exactly replicate high jump doing anything else, just because of the severity and technicality of the event. So getting back into a nice rhythm and routine of that. Then competitions for the year. I have a Grand Prix international meet scheduled in May in Rieti in Italy, and then also the World Championships in July of this year. So they're my 2 main targets. My training and my competition plan may change or vary depending on how my kind of injury and getting back up into high jump training progresses, but that's the plan, and we're going to do everything possible to stick to that plan and to keep on jumping high. And it's just fantastic now with the year that's coming up to have Puma along my side. It's not a lot of athletes in the entirety of the world can say that they're actually sponsored by a big brand. To be one of them from Killarney and from County Kerry, like, it's something that I'm very proud about.
You better be careful, because your father might want him to sponsor St. Paul's or something.
Everybody wants a piece of Puma now.
Come here to me. When you're going out competing, is there a height in mind? Is the competition different? Is the qualification different? We were talking about the sprinters, that they have to get to a certain level, or how does it work in the high jump?
Yeah. So it's quite interesting. So every athlete kind of has a different approach to things, but it all depends on form going into the competition, your competitors who are going to be in the competition then as well. But it also comes down to the mentality of the athlete too. So when I go out into a competition, it doesn't matter who I'm jumping against. I always want to jump higher than the next guy, even though they could statistically be better than me, or they might have a statistically better PB than I do. I'm still going to go into the mindset of competition that I'm going to beat that guy and I'm going to jump such and such a height. But I never sort of set a cap or a limit on what it is that I'm going to jump personally, because I just have that mentality that I'm going to try and raise the bar with every single jump. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, then we go into the next competition with the same sort of approach, because I personally believe you should never really set a cap on what can be done or what can be achieved at a competition. You should always be very, very optimistic in that regard. Obviously, you'll have a general sort of basis, I suppose, as to where you're at going into the competition. But when the competition starts, you're looking to clear every bar regardless. You know, you're not going to stop clearing the bar just because you've hit a certain height or hit a certain increment. You're going to keep going until the last man is standing.
Good man. Well, hopefully you will be the last man standing in a lot of the competitions coming forward. Jordan Lee, congratulations, of course, on your Puma thing. Good congratulations, I suppose, on the old Derby win at the weekend as well. I don't know whether you were clear to jump, but I certainly saw you jumping off your ankle a small bit at the end of the buzzer there as well. And of course, we're referring, of course, to the basketball in Killarney. Jordan, listen, thanks very much, and we'll keep in contact. And listen, as I say, keep jumping high. And that, of course, was Jordan Lee. And hopefully, Tomas, his dreams will come true as well. About 30 seconds left. We could run probably a couple of 60 metres in it, Tomas. Any final words?
Yeah, it's busy time coming up. So I just mentioned the county board has scheduled some stuff. So the County Road Championships is on the 12th of March. That's out in Kilmiley. The 26th of March for the kids. The kids will open their season in the Sport Hall Games, which is for the underage stuff. So I think that's scheduled for Killorglin on the 26th of March. In between here and then, you got Munster Championships on in Nina for the older juvenile athletes. So that's going to be something on the 24th, 25th of February. So clubs preparing for lots of stuff. And then May is going to be a big month with county championships. So thanks for the time, everybody. And great to be talking on behalf of Kerry Athletics.
Absolutely. The music frightens you, doesn't it? It comes on every evening and it says, don't hurry on, you 40 seconds. Come here, listen, thanks to everybody who tuned in this evening, the show. We really appreciate all our listeners and the comments, of course, and all our contributors, Dan Carney, Mort Murphy, Tomas, Griffin, Jordan Lee, of course, and our boys at the start, and Declan Bonner all the way from County Donegal as well at the start. Up next is Toke Susna.